Hey everyone, Rob here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today, I have some shocking information. This is not something you have heard on any YouTube channel, social media. You have not seen this anywhere online. No friend has texted you this information or called you about this. This is some shocking news. So if you're not seated, I recommend finding a seat and getting prepared for this. It is shocking, like I said. Silver has broken through 20 an ounce, cut through it like butter, and shot all the way past 23 an ounce and is now fluctuating between 22 and 23, multiple 6%, 7% days. It's been insane. I know. It's shocking. All right, I'll cut it. Everyone's talking about it. What's going on with silver? Is silver going to the moon? Is it a good time? Is it going to pull back? What's happening with silver? So much micro analysis going on. I got a lot of people saying, "Where's your video on it?" Because a lot of people saw that 100,000 to 100,000 comparison, 100,000 worth of gold to 100,000 worth of silver. If you haven't watched that video, this was back when the ratio was like, I believe at the time it was like 97 or 95. It might have been a little bit over 100 at that time. It was 2 weeks ago or so. And I was calling out that silver was extremely undervalued and saying why I invest so much in silver and why I actually hold more silver than I do gold. Gold is the close second in my portfolio personally. I needed a few days to marinate on this, and now after watching as much as I have and reading as much as I have, I'm comfortable making this video because when I drop a video here, it's got to provide real value. Or what else? What's the point? You know, I hope that when you watch these videos that it genuinely provides you value. And I guess that's a perfect time for me to say thank you so much for being a subscriber here. I started this page 3 weeks ago and we're just about to break 300 subscribers, which is insane to me. I know it's not a lot. There's people with like tens of thousands of subscribers, hundreds of thousands, millions of subscribers. But for me, having 300 people that are giving me feedback online and that we can have open discussions on in the comments down below, and also friends of mine and people that I don't even know sharing these videos on social media platforms and getting the word out. I mean, I'm just humbled. I'm just humbled by it. And it gives me the inspiration to continue to make these videos. So before I get into my reasons for investing in silver and why I personally buy a lot of it for my portfolio, basically my ultimate silver guide here, I just want to say thank you personally. You watching this video, you subscribed, thank you. I appreciate you being here. With that being said, I also have to say that this is for education purposes only. This is my opinion. Nothing is to be taken as fact or financial advice. This is financial education based on my opinion, which I could very much be wrong about. So disclaimer, 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 I am not a financial advisor. Now, let's finally get into this information here. This is a video that you might want to watch all the way through because this has helped me make a lot of money in silver. I have been using this strategy for a very long time, and I am implementing this strategy across all of my investments, but I'm going to go specifically into silver and break it down on a much more simple basis. So the first thing I want to say is there are way too many technical analysis guys out there. Way too many. We are not robots. We don't know trends within months, weeks, hours. Don't get into that guessing game. In my personal opinion, I don't like being a super technical analysis. Now, making that chart go all the way back to the 1900s and studying the history of a chart, that's a little bit different in my opinion. But when you're getting so close and technical, saying, I saw a video that he's going, oh, there's going to be a major opportunity in the next month. I just know it. It's going to go 15% back, and that's the time to go all in. That's the time. And I just don't think that that's the way you make big money. That's the way that you sit. Most money, I'm going to butcher this quote, but a famous investor said this: most money's made by sitting on your hands. That's where the most money's made. That's what's made me the most money, is just sitting on my hands. You know, obviously I do a lot of other things, but when you sit on your hands and you develop a long-term thesis for why you're buying something, why you are putting your money into something, that is when you make the big money on it. So my first piece of advice is don't get caught up in the technical analysis. Don't let the people saying there's going to be a 10% pullback, there's going to be a 20% pullback, there's going to be one more big opportunity, because I'm going to get into some other possible thesis on what could happen other than a major pullback. The first thing I would say in counter to that argument, where people are saying there's going to be, if the stock corrects, this is true, by the way. If the stock market corrects, if the stock market has a major drop, you will see metals get sold off because there will be a margin call and they will sell their profitable positions to cover the margin call. That happened in 2007 and it continued until 2011 when we saw the highest points in metals. So that does happen, and there is a lot of rationale to that argument. The other way to look at it is silver could very well jump to 30-40, and this pullback that is being implied might be pulling it back to current levels. So nobody really knows what's going to happen here. So think 36 months out. That's always been my rule of thumb. A really smart guy told me that a while ago, and it really stuck with me. Think 36 months out, at least 3 years on your parking of your money. I always am dabbling between the term investment and insurance with metals because I think it's a bit of both. With silver specifically right now, I find silver to be almost more in the investment category because it is so undervalued in my opinion. I stand by what I said 2 weeks ago, when silver was 18 an ounce. I thought it was undervalued then, and I think it's undervalued now. And if it fell to 16, I think it is super undervalued then, and I'd buy more. But the key is to take it down to the most simplified basis possible. So let me get to a better point here. The simplest way to look at it is the historical ratio is 15-1. So 15 ounces of silver would buy 1 ounce of gold. This is the historical basis of silver to gold. On even a more simple basis, gold in the Earth's crust is roughly 4 parts per billion, and silver is roughly 75 parts per billion. Now, if you do some simple division, you get 15-1. Now, it's going to range somewhere between, I think, 15-1 and 20-1, but you get the point. It's very close to the historical trend of gold and silver because these are noble metals. Silver is 15 times roughly more abundant than gold. So that's where that ratio comes from. Now, the gold to silver ratio, as I'm making this video, is 83-1, which in my opinion is way out of line. And I have some reasons for that. So the first thing I wanted to say was, don't get too deep into the technical analysis. Don't get too caught up on that. Make a longer time frame on your investment or insurance, however you want to categorize buying silver or buying gold or whatever. Put a longer thesis in play and really think deep about what's going to happen over the next 3-year period. I think it's probably going to happen sooner than that, but I am thinking 3 years out. So that's the first thing. The next thing is understand how rare the metal is and understand what the ratio used to be. And if you're going to study any chart, the best chart to study would be what happened in 2011. That would be a great part to study there. Study the long-term historical chart. Don't get into the short-term stuff. So why did I specifically choose to have 1,000 ounces of silver here and 500 ounces of Engelhard Prospector 1 ounce rounds here? The silver to gold ratio very recently was 100 to 1 and actually went all the way up to like 120 to 1. So it got pretty intense. So I just wanted to show, I've already done a video of 100,000 to 100,000, but this is just an easier comparison, I think. That right there is a 10-ounce bar of gold. That is 100 to 1. This is 1,000 ounces of silver. This is 10 ounces of gold. So literally that right there. It used to be 1 to 15, and that is 100 to 1. So I'm going to get more into detail on why that doesn't make any sense today, but that really puts it into perspective, how crazy 100 to 1 really is. Same thing here. We have 500 ounces of Engelhard Prospector 1 ounce rounds. And this is a 5 ounce gold bar. Let's see. That is 100 to 1. What it used to be, and I know this is just very simplified and I might be redundant, but I hope that this is providing some value to understand what I'm going to talk about next about silver and why I personally park so much of my money in silver. I also have a lot of gold, but silver specifically, I'm a big fan of. So this is a 5 ounce gold bar. We're going to put that, make sure this is in frame. Put that right there. Here is 75 ounces, 25 ounces per roll. This right here, these three, put that like that, used to buy this. These were the same. This was the historical appropriate amount, 15 to 1. This is actually what is in the Earth's crust, 15 to 1. And that's rough figures. It kind of puts it in perspective to see it like that, where you go, okay, that's what 15 to 1 is. But today, you need nearly this entire pile here to buy that. Not 3 of these. You need all of these to buy that 5 ounce gold bar. Now we'd have to take like that out because it's now 83 to 1. So given some rough figures here, that's what it looks like today when it used to be just 3 of these. It used to just be this to buy that. Now, do I think it's going to go back to 15 to 1? No, I'm going to make a more conservative estimate and say that I imagine silver to go back to the same ratio that it was in 2011. Gold's all-time high in 2011 was $19.20 an ounce. Silver's all-time high was $48 an ounce. Well, we're within spitting distance of $19.20 an ounce on our gold. Silver has a long way to go to get to 48. It needs to more than double. So why is it lagging so far behind? Well, a lot of people would say that it's been manipulated. A lot of people would say that, JP Morgan holds a ridiculous amount of silver and has been short silver. Now, if silver's breaking out, could they possibly be being short squeezed at the same time that the Department of Justice is investigating them for this exact issue? So the eyeballs are on Mr. Diamond over there in his ivory towers. And at the same time, silver is pushing up and the demand is growing. And at the same time, the mines are shut down from COVID. So to import the metal is extremely hard. To export the metal is extremely hard. Let me move these back in here. sorry to be dramatic, but I just think that when you actually see it, like I see so many people just throwing a bunch of silver at you. I want to actually show real ratios so that our minds can wrap around what's going on here. So if JP Morgan is being short squeezed and anybody shorting silver is being squeezed, they're going to have to cover that position and go long. Now, if that happens, silver could really see a breakout. So am I personally speculating on a 1 month, 2 month sort of thing? Or am I just looking at what's going to happen with money in the future? Is this asset undervalued? That's the things that I'm looking at and why I've been buying silver. I bought silver at 18 an ounce. I bought silver at 16 an ounce. I bought silver at 11.50, 12 an ounce. I bought silver all across the board, 14, 15, everywhere I've been buying it. So why am I doing that? It's because the gold to silver ratio in 2011 was roughly 30. So 30 to 1 is still out of line, but it's something that I can wrap my mind around. It's something that I can go, okay, well, it's double where it should be, but okay. And I'm going to get into even more reasons why I think it should be much tighter than 83. I thought it was crazy at 100 when I made that last video. And that's a good thing about YouTube. I don't want to be that guy being like, I told you so. You can just go back and watch my videos for yourself. And if I was right, I was right. If I was wrong, I was wrong. I'm no guru. You know, I just am putting out the information that I think will provide a lot of value to people because it has provided a lot of value to me. Back to that point with the gold to silver ratio, right now, gold is within spitting distance of its all-time high, and yet silver is way far off of its all-time high. So that was the next point. That doesn't make any sense. If we're going to go back to those 2011 levels with gold, then why are we not going back to those 2011 levels with silver? You know, that doesn't make very much sense to me. And that is why I find silver to be so undervalued. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is 90% of silver, roughly speaking, I think it's somewhere between like 88 and 90% of it is industrial use silver. So if you can believe it or not, this is actually a stat, like other than just messing with you at the beginning of the video and saying you haven't heard this information yet. This is actually something you might not have heard before. So this might shock you. And that's why I've said to, watch my videos all the way through, because some of the information might be a little bit new or unique. Gold is actually less rare than silver above ground, especially in times like this. All the gold that's mined is mostly held as money. So over all the time of man that we've been taking in gold, it doesn't really go anywhere. Silver, on the other hand, 90% of it is industrial, so it gets put in landfills. A lot of it just goes places to die. So silver it's not as abundant as gold is, which shocks some people. The last number that I saw was actually there is 5 times more abundance in gold than silver. And most of this gold is in vaults and in different places that are stored in mass quantities. But that is a surprising stat that I don't think too many know. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, and this is actually a warning at the same time, mining stocks. I'm hearing a lot of people talking about mining stocks. With COVID, the majority, if not all, of mines are shut down. So I don't believe in mining stocks personally. The cost to mine silver is right now not very profitable. People would much rather be mining gold, So the cost of mining silver, it's not making that much economical sense. Now, if it starts to go up and people go, hey, guys, it's actually a lot of labor to get this silver above ground. We need it to go up, and we're not going to sell it to you for any less than 40 an ounce. That is something that would drive the price of silver up. But would I be speculating right now and investing in a mining stock in the middle of a pandemic? No. No, I wouldn't. So I might be one of the few YouTubers on here that says, I don't want to tell you to get into this and that mining stock and leverage and do this and that. I don't think that that's a good move. I think that that's a gamble. You know, there's a difference between making an investment in an insurance play and parking your money in good money, in real money, and gambling. And mining stocks, in my personal opinion, is gambling because A, they're not in production, and B, it's costing too much to produce an item that is undervalued that you can literally buy. So why not just buy that item that's undervalued? And another thing I wanted to touch on is when silver fell at the beginning of the pandemic and it dropped down to 12. It's crazy. And I picked up, as you saw from that last video, I didn't want to take the 1,000 ounces out and everything. It's just messes my back up. But the things are like 70 pounds each. But I went in deep when I saw that first initial drop because like you can't even mine it for this. This is ridiculous, you know? And so when I say always keep some powder dry, that's what I mean for it. There could be that flash crash where you see it go down from some crazy event. But at the end of the day, it's a finite good. And it takes a lot of labor to get that good, to get that asset. So that's not going to change. So if silver goes down, it's like this is the most common sense thing ever. You're printing and printing money. Powell's over there printing trillions and trillions of dollars, you know, going crazy with this printing press. And they're about to drop the mother load. I know it. Before a new election, they're going to drop a mother load of this cash. And so what that could do would, just to put a thesis, another possibility out there. And I know this video is more of a rant than like perfectly saying my points, but that's how I like to do these videos. I want them to be genuine, and I just want to give out my opinion and not be all choppy with every single clip. If Powell's printing all this money, there's only one place to put it, you know, or there's only so many places to put it. It's going to funnel down. When you cash a stimulus check, you put it into a bank. The bank then gives out a bunch of loans. The loans are easier to get. There's nowhere to put this money other than a business, or, which that'd be a good idea, or putting it into the stock market. It eventually funnels its way into the stock market. And that is artificially propping up the market. And that would actually, what people don't realize is the stock market doesn't have to crash to bring metals up. Actually, when the stock market crashes, metals usually crashes with it because they have to sell their profitable position and do a margin call and cover the losses on the equities, on the stocks. So that actually usually drops, as we saw with the initial outbreak of coronavirus, that is what happened. Metals plummeted. And there was a big opportunity there. And so there are a lot of YouTubers talking about this opportunity. Now, the counter of this argument is if they keep pumping money in, they are devaluing the dollar and diluting the dollar. Stocks are going to cost more money. It could make the stock market artificially inflated and at the same time inflate metals with it. So it's not exactly... It's almost like if Powell's given us lemons, use them for lemonade before they rot. If Powell's given us lemons, let's use them for lemonade before they rot. That would be my easiest way to phrase it, because with precious metals, we know what we're buying. We know the good. We know how hard it is to mine, how much it costs to mine. Let's not get speculative on a mining stock that could very well be extremely overvalued and could very well go bankrupt and could be in a bad position. I know you can look deeper into their fundamentals and do a better analysis on them, but at the end of the day, it's gambling compared to buying the actual good they're mining for that's undervalued. That was another thing I wanted to touch on, is when we saw that drop to 12, you couldn't buy silver for 12. There was a huge premium on it. Literally, silver was going for like $5, $6 over. You know, like you couldn't get silver for low cost to that 12. And if you could, God bless you. You know, it was very, very hard to find it. And so that shows you that when you have the actual good, the people that think, hey, no, this is undervalued, I'm not gonna sell you this for that. I'm gonna hang on to it for a little bit. And that's what you saw with all the dealers around the country. I think that is inevitable. So do I think there's going to be an opportunity? Do I think that there's going to be some dramatic crash in the future to get in on the next wave? There was another person that's a very popular YouTuber that was saying there's going to be, you know, the best pullback, the best opportunity to get in it's coming out very soon. This is not it yet. You know, the bull run isn't here yet. There's going to be a better opportunity. To that, I would say, develop a thesis instead of worrying about the near term when to go all in. Always have the asset and have some powder dry if that occasion happens. When it fell to 12, I had a lot of silver at 16, 17 range, and it fell to 12. And I'm going, oh man, I just lost like 30 grand. This is crazy, you know? Then I had a lot of powder dry. And so I bought a lot when it fell. And now we're sitting at 22 and change. So what does that say? It just says keep some powder dry at all times and buy what you can afford. But don't get caught up on the day-to-day. Don't get caught up on the people saying this is going to happen in the near future. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. But the truth that's happening is they're printing so much money at the Fed. They're artificially inflating the markets. They're buying up bonds. It's like, what are they going to do to get us out of this? Issue junk bonds? Who's going to buy their bonds? Like, it doesn't. All of it doesn't make any sense. But the only thing that I can think of is, wow, they're giving out free lemons. Take the free lemons, or see that what's going on and do something before the lemons rot. Do something before the lemons rot. You know, it's like, I hate to use that analogy, you know, of like a lemon car or something, but the best thing you could do if you got a lemon car is get it back to them as quick as you can, or, you know, hot potato sort of thing. But the stock market is artificially inflated. Everything is going to cost more money across the board. Silver specifically, in my personal opinion, is extremely undervalued, and I'm a buyer of it now. I bought $3,600 worth of silver today. And I'm planning to buy a lot more. I bought a lot of gold today, though. We did big purchase of gold today. Maybe I'll make a video on some of the stuff coming in. But back to the gold to silver ratio. I know this has been a super long video. It's almost, almost 30 minutes. But I feel like I just had to rant and touch on all these different subjects here because I'm really sick of seeing these short-term technical analyses. You know, silver could very easily jump $2, $3 a day, go over 30, and then when the stock market crashes, the pullback was like when it fell from, you know, 19 down to 12 at the beginning of the outbreak. It could be from 35 to 25, and you still missed out by not buying now. And you could have just bought, you know, you could have bought more on that pullback, but that pullback doesn't really make any sense because you could have just bought now. So don't go all in, you know, but buy some, sit on some, marinate on it, and develop your thesis. Personally, I'm still a buyer at 22, 23. Still a buyer with premium. You know, I still can't even find it for spot right now. You know, it doesn't matter. It's like people are still getting $1.50, $2 over for 100-ounce bars. You know, some of them are going for even more than that. So the 10-ounce bars and stuff are going for really big premiums right now. So what that tells me is the demand is there. You know, the market is hot. Everyone's talking about silver, as they should be. And if silver decided that now that gold is nearly at an all-time high, the all-time high is 1920 range, and right now it's getting close. It's almost breaking 1900, yet silver is less than half the value it was at the same time in 2011. That doesn't make any sense. And so even now that silver's broken over 20, that ratio of being 83 to 1, which it currently is right now, makes no sense to me. On the metal basis, specifically, that It literally is, a 15-to-1 in the Earth's crust. 15-to-1 or 20-to-1 range in the Earth's crust. So why is silver not going back to that 30-to-1 ratio that it was in 2011? I really don't have a reason for it. I can't rationally think of why. Silver is actually more rare above ground than gold. Gold is far more abundant. Silver is used and then thrown into landfills and used in all different kinds of things. So as silver starts getting held as an investment and gets put in tighter hands, which is the same reason why I disagreed with Mike Maloney on platinum, which is also outperforming gold and starting to get tighter with the platinum to gold ratio. Don't sleep on platinum. It's very hard to mine right now. The cost to mine doesn't make sense for these items. For platinum to be this low, I mean, you can't even mine it for this cheap. And most of it is in Africa. And now I'm talking about platinum. I'm supposed to be talking about silver, but the same thing with silver, where the mines are shut down. Silver is actually more rare above ground than gold, and it's sitting at a ratio that is absurd. So am I going to tell you there is a huge pullback coming in the near future? Be prepared. No. I am not a guru that can tell you what's going to happen in the next couple months. I'm not someone that can tell you what's going to happen in a week, a month. I am somebody that can say what I personally am developing as a thesis for the next 3 years and what has made me a lot of money over the past 3 years. So my best advice is buy what you can afford. Always keep 20% liquid ready for an opportunity, but continue to buy. And I am going to state what I said 2 weeks ago. Hold more silver than gold. And when I say that, that is what I'm doing personally. That is my personal opinion. Hold more silver than you do gold. And until the ratio tightens, and what I'm calling, if you want my actual prediction, if you stayed all the way till the end of this video and you actually watched a 30-minute video of my crazy self rambling and ranting on, and again, like I said, I appreciate you being here so much because I can go on tangents, but I hope that there are a few gems in me just rambling. When the ratio tightens, my prediction here is that the ratio tightens back to what it was in 2011, which would be a 30-to-1 ratio, roughly speaking. If that happened, we would see it go from 83-to-1 to 30-to-1. That would be a dramatic shift in silver to more than double. I don't see gold doubling as fast as I see silver doubling because literally the ratio should be 30-to-1 when it's 83-to-1. It should take 30 ounces of silver to buy 1 ounce of gold. But for some reason, it's 83-to-1 right now when gold is much more abundant above ground than silver. We're going through a pandemic. The mines are shut down. There is so much going for silver. And now that it broke through that key resistance of 20, the eyeballs are on. That at the beginning was obviously me being sarcastic. The eyeballs are on silver. People are looking. Not only the eyeballs on silver for us investors that are like, I'm going to hang on to this stuff. I don't really want to sell it to you. And if it falls, I'm still going to hang on to it. I don't want to sell it to you because this is good money. This is real money. That's all fake money. The truth is, silver has the potential to, if I'm going to finally lay down what I think silver is going to do, I think 50 plus. I think 50 plus for silver. Could it go to 100 and really go crazy? Absolutely. But my number is 50. That's the number that I'm calling out, that within the next 36-month period, I'm calling out 50. Now, I think it's going to happen a lot sooner than that. But like I said, I keep my timelines long. And do I think gold's a bad investment? No. Gold's a great investment. Or, insurance. And when I say that personally as my personal opinion. They are the same animal, but they're different animals. But with silver, the ratio should be much tighter. It should be much tighter. Again, sorry for being on a tangent. Sorry for getting on a rambling mode. I think I touched on everything that I wanted to touch on. I hope that this provides you value in some way on what to do when silver is breaking out like this. It's not time to, go, all right, I'm going to sell my entire position and wait for this opportunity for a pullback. It's like, no, the thesis is playing out. Now, is your thesis only to get to 22, 23? Well, then you won on your thesis. You played it, and you could have played from 12 to 23 and said, hey, that's it. That's all I'm doing. For me, it's 50. 50 or bust. And I'll still hold a bunch. But I think that's a number that I can wrap my head around and that I can put on my years out chart. Probably going to happen a lot sooner than that. The other thing too that I wanted to elaborate on was the fact that the stock market, when it does fall, the people that are saying there would be a major pullback in silver are correct. They're correct. They're not wrong. There would be margin calls. Silver would fall as it did at the beginning of the pandemic. What's going on, though, is Powell is printing a ton of money. He's printing a ton of money. He's continuing to print money, and I guarantee you he's going to throw a Hail Mary. I can't say guarantee. I really strongly believe that Powell is going to throw a Hail Mary before the new election, and it's going to, he's going to drop the mother load. They're talking about this, another stimulus package and all of that. When they do that, it's going to artificially hold the stock market, and that is going to bring metals up with it. Then when an event happens, when everything crashes, we might see silver already at 30, 40, 50 an ounce. And when the crash happens, it might only pull back 10 to 15. So buying at 23 was a great move. See, everybody thinks that it's going to stay flat at 23 and then the market's going to crumble and silver's going to go down with it right now. But if it's going up $1, 6%, 7% a day, this could easily blow up, and the pullback that you're talking about for a margin call would happen, but it wouldn't bring it back to the level that it is right now. So think of things in the long term and don't get caught up on the day-to-day. Don't be a day trader with your metals. This is, at the end of the day, it is insurance. It is a hedge against hyperinflation, which is, in my opinion, obviously inevitable. Thank you so much for watching. I'm sure you've had enough of my crazy self talking on and on and on about the subject. I promised that I would make my video on silver and why I am still a silver bull. I could say, I was bullish at 16, 17, bought a bunch at 12, and now I'm out at 23. That's it. But I'm not. I'm still a bull. Now, as this ratio starts tightening, I might move some of it and get some more of this. That might happen. Or I might move some of this and get some more platinum. I might move it in whatever metal that I think is undervalued. I'm going to, I like to specifically not watch the technicals, but watch the ratio. And when I guess technicals and the ratio are the same thing, but when I think of technicals, I just think of somebody like charting a minute chart, But the ratios are very important. The platinum to gold ratio, the platinum to silver ratio. These are very important to me, and I watch those close. And like I said in the past, if you watched my videos, if you haven't gone to Future of Money playlist, it'll go through all my videos on this subject. I still stand by that. I think platinum is very undervalued. And if you remember, I was talking about platinum at 830. This was just a couple weeks ago. And now we're sitting over 900. Silver, I was talking about at 18. Now we're, over 22, broke over 23, and now it's fluctuating. I'm not a guru, but all I do is I look at the ratios and I go into which metal I think is the most undervalued. And personally, I still stand by that. I think the highest ROI and the most undervalued investment, insurance policy in metals, again, however you want to phrase it, is silver and platinum. Silver the most. Personally, I think silver has a ridiculous amount of potential. I like silver being my number one holding in metals. I also think platinum is very undervalued. I go silver, gold, platinum. That's my top three. that's the video. It's been a long one. Thank you so much for being here. I'm not going to chop up this video. I probably should edit these at some point, but it's just not genuine to me when it goes frame to frame to frame to frame. I'd rather just ramble and get this out there. Hopefully you found some value in it. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe. Would mean a lot. If you want to smash that like button too, would help this video be seen by more people. Thank you again so much for watching. Signing out. See you at the next video.